Welcome to this explainer. So picture this. All I need is your email address. That's it. I don't need your password, I don't need physical access to your phone, and you don't even have to click a sketchy link. Just a standard, everyday email address. And with that one single, seemingly harmless piece of info, I can find out exactly where you are, literally right this second. Over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack exactly how this absolutely terrifying exploit actually works, why it's happening, and crucially, how you can protect yourself. Can they track your location with just an email? Now, you might be hearing that question and thinking, okay, there's absolutely no way that's possible. It sounds like literal magic or maybe some highly exaggerated spy movie plot. But I need to be incredibly clear right up front here. This is not a hypothetical scenario. This is a real, active exploit happening out in the wild right now. Security researchers and intelligence agencies are actively monitoring this exact threat as we speak. And you know what the truly scary part is? Almost nobody outside of the deeply specialized world of telecom security even knows this exists. Okay, let's dive into this and look at exactly what we're dealing with. In the security community, it's known as an SS7 evil twin attack. SS7 is essentially the backbone protocol of modern telecommunications. Think of it like the global postal service, or the hidden operating system that literally every single phone network on Earth still uses to route your calls and texts from point A to point B. It's the invisible plumbing of global communication, and recently attackers have figured out a way to completely weaponize this fundamental system, using nothing more than an email address as their golden key to get inside. To understand why this happens, we actually have to travel all the way back to 1975. Yep, 1975. This is when the SS7 protocol was built and standardized. I mean, just think about the technology landscape back then. We are currently relying on a 50-year-old structural system to run our modern smart devices. It was designed long before the personal internet, let alone modern cybersecurity, was even a concept. Back in the 70s, phone lines were physically secure cables housed in locked concrete buildings, guarded by the phone companies themselves. So SS7 has almost zero security built into its code, because half a century ago, engineers simply didn't think they needed it. They just inherently trusted anyone on the network. And this brings us to what makes this fundamentally different from literally every other cybersecurity threat you've probably been warned about. With a traditional hack, you have to make a mistake. The attacker needs you to participate. You have to accidentally click a suspicious phishing link in your inbox, or maybe download some malware disguised as a software update, or answer a scam call and hand over your info. But the SS7 exploit, it requires absolutely zero interaction from you. None. You could literally turn your smartphone off, lock it inside a heavy metal safe, and bury it in your backyard, and this exploit would still work on the network side. All it takes is your email being tied to your phone number somewhere out there in the world. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact chain reaction of how this unfolds. Step 1, your email is found. Attackers aren't necessarily hacking you directly to get this, right? They just grab it from some old data breach. Or, honestly, even simpler, they pull it from a routine form you filled out, like a seemingly innocent warranty card for a new toaster or an online restaurant reservation that asks for your contact info. Step 2, that email serves as the single thread the attacker needs to pull to link it to your actual mobile phone number via data brokers. Step 3, once they have that link and feed it into the massive SS7 network, boom, they can pinpoint your precise location on a map. Which leads us perfectly into section 1, the silent escalation. Because once they pull that thread, things get much worse. Unfortunately, simply finding your location is really just the beginning here. Once attackers are in through that network-level vulnerability, the threat escalates incredibly fast, and it happens completely out of sight. They gain some absolutely terrifying capabilities. First, they can silently intercept your incoming text messages before they even reach your phone. Second, and honestly most critically, this means they can capture your two-factor authentication codes. This completely bypasses your bank's main security vault door because the attacker gets the code, not you. Third, they can see exactly which cell tower you're connected to, narrowing your physical, real-world location down to just a few hundred meters in real time. And fourth, this is the real kicker here, there are zero warning signs on your device. Your phone won't show a weird battery drain. You won't see strange pop-ups. You will have absolutely no idea it's even happening. Now, if you've logged into your bank recently and wondered why they're suddenly practically begging you to use a dedicated authenticator app instead of just sending you a familiar text message code, this exploit is exactly why. Consumers have definitely been a bit confused by this pushback, wondering why the old way isn't good enough anymore. Well, the reality is the structural flaw in SMS is so severe and so heavily exploited that major financial institutions are actively forcing a phase out of text-based two-factor authentication by 2026. The banking industry knows for a fact that the telecom network itself can just no longer be trusted to securely deliver a simple 6-digit code. So you might be wondering how regular people are getting their hands on this kind of god-level network capability, right? Well, remember, when SS7 was built back in 1975, the system was designed with one massive assumption, that only trusted, legitimate, state-sponsored telecom companies would ever have access to it. Today, that assumption has completely fallen apart. Access to these telecom nodes has been leaked, it's been resold, and it's now actively traded on gray market networks. It's literally packaged and sold almost like a software subscription service on the dark web. Attackers don't have to be brilliant, hoodie-wearing hackers breaking through complex firewalls anymore. They just have to know who to pay to buy access. Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds into high-profile targets at risk, shifting from the personal threat to a massive global scale. Because we aren't just talking about individual bank accounts anymore. We are talking about structural targeting at the absolute highest levels. In just the last year alone, we've seen confirmed cases where journalists tracking down anonymous sources, corporate executives quietly negotiating massive multi-billion-dollar mergers, and even high-ranking government officials have had their sensitive communications intercepted using exactly this method. I mean, imagine a journalist's source being outed simply because an adversary pinged a cell tower, or a corporate buyout totally derailed by stolen texts. This proves this is not some fringe theoretical issue. It is a widespread crisis affecting people who handle highly sensitive information every single day. So the crucial point is this: we need to change how we think about this threat. With a structural flaw this deep in our global telecom network, the standard advice completely fails. Standard antivirus software on your phone does absolutely nothing here because the vulnerability is in the network itself, not on your personal device. The technology is already out there, and the flaw is fundamentally unpatchable on your end. The real question you need to ask yourself isn't, could this happen to me? It's, how do I make myself not worth the effort? How do you remove those threads the attackers are trying so hard to pull? And that brings us to Section 3, the defensive playbook. This is where we talk about the actionable protection steps you can actually take. Let's look at exactly what you can do today to protect yourself and sever that connection between your email and your phone's location. Here is your rapid-fire checklist. Step 1. Immediately move off SMS-based two-factor authentication. Just do it. Switch your important accounts to an authenticator app or a physical hardware key like a YubiKey. Step 2. Go to hevbeenpwned.com and check if your email has been exposed in a breach that might link it to your phone number. Step 3. For anything sensitive, start using a secondary email address that you have never ever linked to your real phone number. This deliberately breaks the thread the attacker is trying to pull. And Step 4. If you work in a high-risk role, say you're a journalist, an executive, or an activist, you need to ask your mobile carrier directly about SS7 firewall protections. You usually have to call corporate support and specifically request to be put on a high security tier. Some carriers actually offer this layer of security now, but they absolutely do not advertise it, and most people simply don't know it's an option they can ask for. Which leaves us with this final, somewhat provocative question to help you assess your own digital footprint. Think about the email address you use every single day to sign up for newsletters, buy things online, or reset your passwords. Is it silently connecting you to a 50-year-old vulnerability right now? Take the time to implement those defensive steps, guys. Make yourself a harder target. And hey, if you want me to dive deeper into those specific carrier-side SS7 firewall protections in a follow-up explainer, let me know down in the comments. Until then, keep learning, stay focused, and take control of your digital security.